Out here on my walk, man. Out here, man. God has granted us another day, man, to get out here and get some exercise. Let's do it. Gotta take care of this old skin suit, man, for as long as we here, man. It's like a part of the covenant. I take care of yourself first, man, in order to take care of others. Dr. Claude Anderson, he said, and he said to Charlemagne, he was like, man, don't when you get on the airplane, they tell you, put your mask on before you put the mask on for somebody else when the plane going down. You just gotta take care of yourself first. You can't take care of nobody else unless you take care of yourself. So let's remember first and foremost. This message today, man, it's a different message. I hope it comes across the right way. I hope I can explain it the right way. I want my people that listen to this video I'm gonna pray for understanding so you can really take this message in, man. I don't mean no offense saying these things I'm about to say, but they must be said nonetheless. Either way, man, let's get it cracking. The name of this here topic is called My Father's House. A couple years ago, I think maybe 3 years ago, somebody told me that it was going to be a great house restoration. What's going on, my people? How y'all doing, man? Tell me where you're coming in and coming from. It's going to be a great house restoration. It was a people that was called something by the people in America. They were called a name, a proverb. And God said he going to restore these in front of everybody else. And I believe that. I believe that in my heart that that's going to happen. God is going to restore a people who everybody said they wasn't nothing. Everybody on earth said these people were nothing. God going to restore these people in front of everybody. So, when I talk about my father's house, let me explain it like this. So, my mom and dad, they got divorced when I was 7. My mom bounced around a couple of relationships. She eventually found my stepfather. My stepfather was with us for 15 years. Him and my mom decided to go their separate ways. And it was 2 things I learned from having a father in the home, my real father, and also having a stepfather. Father give different type of discipline than mama. Father's discipline, it might seem so harsh. Father's discipline seems so harsh. They're like, Dad, he said it's so mean. Father's discipline look a little bit different than mama discipline. Like when you grow up in the house with mama and daddy, and dad is a good dad, he's a good father, his discipline is way different than this one. You can't just operate any type of way. What's going on, my good people? Where y'all coming in from? You can't just operate any type of way in your father's house. And even when I used to go over my dad's house, I could not operate a certain way over there. It was some things I could do at mama I couldn't do at daddy's house. And I'm sure that's the same as some of you guys that's listening today. When you went over daddy's house, it was a certain set of rules that you had to follow at daddy's house that probably wasn't available at mama's house. So, yes, Canada, Jamaica, what's going on, my good people? I'm glad y'all listen worldwide, man. I'm glad the message is spreading. But let me continue on. But when I acted up in my dad's house, I remember, man, I had got in trouble in school. And my mama called my daddy, and she was like, oh, he's just messing up. I don't know what's going on with him. My daddy said, send him over here this weekend. My daddy gave me $5, a big old can of gas, a gas can, and a lawnmower. And my dad made me walk up the Fifth Ward streets, cutting people grass for free. Hey, ma'am, how you doing? I'm cutting grass for free. That was my dad's punishment. And then that didn't work. I remember my dad was like, bring him on back over here. Man, my dad used to do like maintenance work. My dad's a great carpenter. He does plumbing, electrical work. He does everything. So, like when I used to get in trouble, my dad used to put me to work. My mom would whoop me. I get the whooping, might get punished for a week or 2. Daddy? Man, my dad used to put me to work. Work. Okay, whatever. Um, so what I'm saying is, it's a certain way you gotta operate in dad's presence. And this is very true with our Father in heaven. You can't just operate any type of way under God's law, under your father's law, under your father's house. When I see this earth, I say this is my father's house. And we all just visitors. We get to visit our God's earth, our father's earth. We get to visit here. It's super dope that God allow us a little bit of time to come see his beautiful creation. You see these trees? People don't even understand how beautiful this creation is. But if you don't have no trees, your ass be breathing a lot differently. So what I'm saying is, let me go back to the original point. So when my stepdad came into the picture, man, I'm still getting in trouble, man. I was a rebel as a kid, man. I used to always get in trouble. And so my dad, or my stepdad, was instilling something different than my dad. Still the same type of discipline, but he was preparing me for manhood. So I remember my stepdad giving me a car. My first car was a 77 Root Bill Brown Pontiac Bonneville. Boy, I used to ride that car. It broke down on every freeway, but I loved it. So, man, he used to, hey man, I know you got a job. He was like, I've given you the car. All I need you to do is pay for your own insurance. And so he would continuously ask me, hey man, you got some insurance on that car? And I'd be going to work like, nah, I ain't got insurance yet, man. I'm gonna go ahead and get it after I get off work. And then I spend out my whole check, but I wouldn't get that insurance. And then my stepdad did something very, very fascinating. My stepdad, he waited till I really needed that car, not to go to work, but till I needed that car to go out on a date. And so my dad, he waited. And when I was about to head out on this hot date, boy, I had hooked it up with this girl, man. She was talking all types of good stuff. I knew I was for the win. And boy, I went and I was like, well, I'm about to go out and hang out. He was like, hang out where? Not in my car. I was like, hold on, but you gave it to me. Say, I gave it to you, but you don't have insurance. So you ain't going nowhere. That's my car. If you don't have insurance, it's my car. And boy, I was mad. But what I understand as an adult that my stepdad was telling me, if you don't pay the cost, you can't be the boss. If you don't pay the cost, you cannot be the boss. That's how it go in the real world. If you don't pay your rent, they're gonna kick you out on your butt. You don't get to enjoy the comforts of sleeping inside of a house with AC and all of that. If you don't pay your light bill, they gonna cut your lights off. You will not to get enjoy. You might have a house, but you're not gonna enjoy the fruits of the labor of having lights inside the house, having AC inside the house. So my stepdad was preparing me. He was like, okay, you could be a fool as a kid, but when you become a man, you cannot afford to be a fool. This is what my stepfather was instilling in me. And this is the same way we have to be in our Father's house. This is God's perfect globe, right? This is perfect. And God give us an opportunity to be on his lands, on his grounds. So when we operate in our Father's house, I see so much foolishness too. Like people think they can act any type of way in their Father's house. And there's no repercussions. So when I read the Bible, God say, okay, well, if you don't want to listen in my house, I'm going to release you to the people you want to be around. Go ahead. And then when the people treat you bad, you come back to God and you blame God that he allowed them people to do you like that because you didn't listen. Man, sometimes you be talking to them kids and, hey, what's going on, my good people? Sometimes you be talking to them kids and you trying to nail in good sound logic. And they friends at school be like, no, that logic is not good. Because I'm 18 years old. I know everything. Let me tell you, I really go. And then when they mess up, they come back to their father, please help me out of these terrible situations. And sometimes if you go to your father, it was some situations I went to my father when I got myself in a little bit too deep. My father be like, well, hell, you're going to have to get yourself out of that, bud. And then you got to figure it out on your own. That's what happens Like I told you, this is our Father's earth. When you act how you want to act, God gonna release you to all the people you want to be around. So if you keep attracting the most terrible people of all times, you're gonna have to do some self-reflection. Have I been rebellious in my Father's home? Am I doing what the hell I want to do versus what God has for me? You gotta start looking at these things, man. It's these little details that turn people from mediocre to great. Just these small little details. When you talking about our Father's earth, man, when you talking about the concept of the Father, people don't understand the concept of the Father because so many fathers have been vacant from homes. People to get proper stepfathers. Man, my wife told me a story about Saucy Santana, man. Hurt my heart. Because as I looked into the LGBTQ situation, most of them men and women that got molested. And so my wife tells me Saucy Santana was molested by different family members. This is not our Father's plan for the world to molest children. It's not his plan for us to go around molesting children. Molesting children is the worst of the sins because you corrupt somebody at a very, very, very young age and they grow up, and sometimes the parents don't have the capacity to handle what this child has been through, and the child get to making its own decisions. Most times the child run away from the mother and father because the mother and father cannot understand what happened to them. Because what happened to you is very, very unique to you. What's going on, my good people? We spitting today, man. I'm telling y'all about the Father, man, and being in the Father's house. When you don't abide by the Father's rules, like my kids, I tell them we have a tight ship in here. We run a tight ship up in here. I'm loose. I let y'all be yourselves. I let y'all grow up in here. But we still got to have discipline and rules. It's got to be rules. It's got to be discipline. Especially when you have it all. I told my wife, I said, I done had it all and I done had nothing. I said, when you got to have the most discipline is when you have it all. When you have everything, when everything's available to you. Like if I can have sex with every woman, it's not good for you to have sex with every woman that come in contact just because you can. You got to have discipline. The discipline for men is extremely important. Who you give yourself to is extremely important. In my book, the best chapter was, the man should be about the money and not the honey. I see black men losing their lives because they didn't focus on women, focused on the honey. Money sitting right over here. God like, hey, got the money over here, got your whole career set, and we over here focused on the honey. So when you focus on the honey, you don't get no money. Ain't no money on the honey side. You chase women, you get women. Results vary. When you chase purpose, when you chase what God has for you, man, look at him. Money even become obsolete. When you living by God's perfect plan, man, money becomes obsolete. Of course, we need money to survive. Of course, we need money to survive, people. But we got to still operate in discipline when we have the bread. When you don't have anything and you get something, you got to have extreme discipline. Haven't we seen people get this bread and they lose it because they don't know how to manage? They had no discipline from the jump. That Father's discipline, that spiritual discipline is something over and above. Over and above. Like when you in your Father's house, man, I'm telling you, growing up with my father and my stepfather, you learn many, many, many lessons. You learn the lesson of work, man. My dad worked. My stepdad was a worker. This man worked 15, 16-hour days. So me coming up watching that, I said, okay, man gotta work. Man gotta have skills. Man gotta try something new. If this one ain't working, you gotta try something new. That's the discipline of the Father. But when your Father in heaven is guiding you and not some goofy person down on earth, sometimes your Father don't even have all the answers. I'm 44 years old, man. My dad is about 67. My dad is coming to ask me for relationship advice that nobody gave him. So sometimes your father not even gonna have all the answers. So why not supersede the father and go to your father in heaven and say, hey man, how do you handle these issues? Telling you, man, that fatherly discipline is something that is very much needed. And I look outside today and I say, boy, we lacking that fatherly discipline. Some people really needed it. Some people really needed a true protector in their life. But they ended up getting a distant father and the mother that tried to do the best she can. My is bad, but I'm a good person. Hey, man, you got to get yourself in balance. Everything's about balance. If your dick is out of control, you out of control. Pray every day. I pray multiple times a day. When I see somebody struggling, I pray for them immediately. Immediately, on the spot. I don't have to get on my knees to just pray at night. I pray throughout the day. We did an ultrasound for my baby, man. I was praying for my baby the whole time. Man, I pray for my baby every day. I pray for my family every day. I pray for God's people every single day. When I open up my Bible, I say I need a prayer for myself. I need a prayer for my family. I need a prayer for your nation. I need a prayer for your specific people. And then I open up my Bible and I read. And then whatever I read, I meditate it. I bring it into my spirit. I say, what do you want me to learn from this? Praying ain't a one-time-a-day thing, man. It ain't a once-in-a-week type situation, man. It's a part of my life. It's a lifestyle. When I teach my kids about, because they into trends. My kids are very trendy. They know all the trends. They know all the fads. They know all the stuff. I say, hey, man, we have all these things, these trends. I say, I don't like trends. I like standards. The standard is what it's going to be. The standard is what it's going to be, not, oh, well, I can bend the standard because I like him and he's a nice looking guy. Man, we don't bend those standards for nobody. I tell my daughter, she brings somebody in my house without a belt, he gotta go. He gotta go up the street to Kohl's. He gotta go to Walmart. He gotta get a belt to come up in my house. Because this your father's house. You don't own nothing up in here. When you get your own house, you can do whatever you want over there, but in your father's house, you're gonna have to play by the rules. So what I'm trying to tell y'all, man, get close to your father. If your father, like, man, look here. Let me tell you what I did when I was 40 years old. Like, when you hit 40 as a man, like, some things start clicking for you. It's some things that you feel like you need to solve. You be like, man, I feel like I'm empty in these areas. Man, I was empty in some areas. And I went to my earthly father, man. I talked to him. I said, look, I want to hear. I know you as a dad, but I need to learn you as a man so I can know what to deal with as a man when these situations come to pass. Man, my dad gave me so much game. And some of y'all have spiritual fathers, man. Go to these people, man. That wisdom is important. Good and bad wisdom. Because with bad wisdom, I can discern bad wisdom. I can say, okay, well, let me look outside and see how that's been working. When I look at my brothers and I see them cheating on their wives, I'll be like, okay, well, I see how that's been working. I see how that family gonna get broken up, and I see how your kids gonna be under another man's management. I don't want that for my life. So I gotta play fair. I even gotta play fair. Marriage is the biggest play fair game. Like a woman gotta submit to me, I have to submit to my marriage as well. I have to submit to my marriage. That's playing fair. If my wife said, I'm gonna give my essence to you, I'm gonna give myself to you, I'm gonna submit to you. Is there no submission for me? Do I not have to submit to her? Are we all on the same page? You gotta look at all these things, man. It all makes sense. When you look at it from a spiritual aspect, it all makes sense. If I don't play fair with my wife, eventually she's gonna go out and not play fair with me. Who making love to your old lady while you out making love? There was an old song that was back in the days. So a lot of you men out slanging that iron, hey, that iron might come back home into your house. because you didn't learn how to play fair. And I tell women, I say, when you get with a man, I say, hey, who is his father? Is his father, what is his God's name? Does he worship any God? Does he have any spiritual practice? Don't want to hear that, oh, I'm spiritual. What is the discipline behind I'm spiritual? Who you talking to? Who is your master? Who taught you? When you go to a workout gym, when you go to, let's say you going up in there for jujitsu, you think you're finna go up in there and just challenge the master and you don't know nothing? Get out of here. Man, bend you into a damn pretzel. You gotta learn from a master to eventually become a master. And sometimes you're not even gonna become a master. You might get up to a yellow belt, green belt. That master level comes with a lot of discipline, a lot of understanding, and a lot of knowledge. You don't get this overnight. I be seeing 20-year-olds trying to cheat the game. You ain't cheating the game. Everybody coming through this thing the same. Everybody got to play by the rules in our Father's house. If you don't know what I mean by our Father's house, man, this whole globe is your Father's house. And if you don't believe in God, I really hate to tell you that the future is going to be very God inclusive. Because you ain't got to believe it. You're going to see God with your own damn eyes. A lot of y'all going to see God through foolishness. Because a lot of y'all going to die because of foolishness. Like I told you, my dream for 2019 said a lot of people was going to die because of foolishness. And I woke up from that dream in the biggest sweat of my life. Did y'all know that 8 years ago I was an atheist? Y'all ain't know that, did you? I ain't believing nothing. I'm just out here moving by the sound of the drum. And in 2019, I had a dream, a series of dreams that woke me up and scared the absolute hell out of me. My father was dropping a message at me. He was like, hey, it's time to show up. It's time to come on. I'm finna give this world to Satan. Y'all want Satan so goddamn bad. I'm finna give you everything that you want. All of Satan's devices gonna be on display. And you ain't gonna be able to deny that it is a Satan that exists. When I had that Bible verse that I read on here, 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, read that, please. Read that, please. Read it for yourself. It's good to listen to the video and hear me read it. I ain't the greatest reader. You can read it for yourself and take it into your own spirit. First, the apostasy. And when the apostasy happens, then you'll get your Antichrist. When they denounce all these churches, and it's coming, because they finna expose most of these pastors, what they've been doing behind the scenes. The job is to get you to look at the buildings and look at the people inside the building and say, building bad, people bad, Jesus bad. That's the God, that's the purpose. That's the purpose. For you to say, oh man, this man of God that I've turned into God himself is not perfect. Man, we done had 5 pastors step down this year already. 5 of them. And the last one in Indianapolis, he stepped down, right? And before his congregation, he was like, oh, I committed adultery so many years ago, 20-some years ago. But what he didn't tell the congregation is his adulterous journey was with a 15-year-old. He didn't say that. Oh, no, it was only this one 15-year-old, only one time. Man, if you did it with one 15-year-old, you keep going. Because if you're a nasty motherfucker in your mind, to me, you always a nasty motherfucker. And that's who you is to me. So these pastors don't quit the faith because these faithless men have been in charge for so long and they were put in charge by Satan. These are all Satan's devices. These ungodly men were put in charge by Satan. Here, don't teach them the whole truth. Don't teach them that God is real. Put some money in their pockets. And when people get money, a lot of people devoid God. They be like, okay, I've made it. By God, let me put you on the shelf. And it's a lot of people that don't believe in church because what did happen to them in church. Don't lose faith in Jesus because an imperfect man came down here and did something so ungodly that he threw your mind off. Telling you, we got times coming. We got times coming. All of y'all worried about this election, Trump and whatever, I'm just going to let you know. I was in the government, I was in the military. I work next to high level and I work next to low level. The lowest of the low, the highest of the high. Remember, I had a top secret clearance. Top secret clearance. Top secret. I'm not your regular, average, everyday Joe. I'm a logistics engineer by trade. I'm a Sigma 6 green belt. I was the first person to graduate in my family. I've owned multiple businesses. I don't play by y'all people. I don't. I ain't no regular everyday Joe, man. But I was an atheist. I ain't believe in no God. I believe in none of that. But when my mother-in-law gave me my first Bible at 39 years old and I started reading about the Master, Jesus Christ, I said, hoo. This man sounded like he was fighting against the same people we fighting against today. See, the Pharisees, they all knew the Bible back and forth. You can go to these pastors, man, they laugh at you. Man, you don't know nothing about no Bible. They know the Bible. They don't live by the Bible. You got to live by it. It's a spiritual practice that's inside of it. It's a proverb that says a person that doesn't have any, like, if you don't have any, like, anybody that lets somebody just come into them. A lot of people that just have these, boy, I learned this by sex partners. Tell you, I had a sex addiction. When you learn this about this, they said a person, when you empty, man, feel like you are like a house with no windows or doors. No windows or doors. That's a person with no discipline. No spiritual discipline. You like a house with no doors and windows. Anybody can walk in. Anybody. And so, back in the days when I was an atheist, if somebody read that to me, it made me mad. What you saying, the devil inside of me? But it was a demon sitting up on me. And the thing is, when you try to lead that life, like I tell you, these women gonna show up and they gonna offer you that thing. They gonna offer that thing to you all day. And you gonna have to have a spiritual discernment to say, nope, you not for me. You came here for the destruction. You came here to have a one up on me. Man, there's women that just want to have sex with you so they can sit back and say, I'm gonna expose them at the right time. Stop playing games. I know how this works. And you gonna have to know how it works as well. You can't play like a fool in this here. In your father's house, man, this is a different game down here. Let me start reading some of y'all comments, man. I've been walking and talking. Whew. That's another reason why I don't like it, because I destroyed my tribe. They did unspeakable, horrible things against us. Whew. Whew. Things you would think would never happen, especially from a Christian. Hey, brother, when my grandmother died, first off, when my mom died, I learned what spiritual protection was the same day my mama died. Same day. I knew that my mama had been protecting me from family members that I did not have to deal with. Boy, my mama would fight on people you talk something about me. My mama, I'm telling you, I remember when my family member come over and they was talking about my sister being gay. They sitting in my mama's house talking about I don't like the fact that she lesbian. And man, my mama went over there talking about my mama was stage 4 cancer 2 months before she about to die. Put a goddamn knife to my cousin's neck and said, if you ever speak about my children in my house, I'll cut your shit open. That's my mama. My mama did not play. But my mama, when she died, I was at liberty of the wolves. The people that didn't play with my mama, they came for me. And when you are first accepting God, man, you think you got to be nice. You think, oh, man, let's work everything. Man, you better get on your feet with these people. My mama learned to get on her feet with these people. You're going to have to learn to get on your feet and stand up. You think because you accepted Jesus in your life, you on the easy road? Man, it's the hardest road. You know how many Christians die in the world? Out of any religion in the world, Christians die the most. Christians die the most. Do not play this foolishness. Oh, Islam died the most. They hate us all. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. I was over there in the Middle East. I worked in the Middle East for 6.5 years. You know how we got Church's Chicken in America? They can't name it Church's over there in Dubai. It's called Texas Chicken. Can't even say the name church. Ain't no church over here. So you think representing Jesus? Because Jesus is in all of their text, right? It's in Islam, it's in the Quran, it's in your Bible. They know about Jesus over there in Asia. They know about Jesus in Tibet. They knew about Jesus everywhere. World renowned. So when people try to get you off of the name of Jesus, what you trying to get me on? What you trying to get me on? If Jesus is not the one, what am I supposed to be doing out here? I know that this country was founded on Jesus. It's not founded on Jesus now, but it was founded on Jesus. So when you see a country that leaves Jesus, now you have what we're looking at today. A country with no spiritual discipline. A country that's about to go to war over politics and ideology. A war that's about to tear up the infrastructure of this nation. Most of y'all gonna get up with y'all kids and say, we gotta move. We gotta go. It's too bad here. I'm giving y'all a little bit of prophecy, but I don't want to give you too much of what I done seen. I don't want to scare y'all away. It's a very simple message. But I want you to understand, in your Father's house, you're gonna have to move a little bit differently. Because just like the devil got devices, man, God about to give his people some powers. How you think God's people took out all them giants and all them other crazy things a long time ago? How you think that happened? That was the power of God. How you gonna take out a giant that's as tall as a building? How could you do that if you do not have the power of God? When they was talking about these people, and they was like, man, them people make us look like grasshoppers. What you think these people was looking at? What do you think these people were looking at when they were back then? They said, man, I'm not. When God sent them, he was like, hey, man, that land is yours. And them people, and Moses sent scouts out there to see, and the scouts came back and said, man, them people make us look like grasshoppers. God was like, look here, the powers I done gave you supersede they height, they strength. You got the strength of me. This is by building spiritual armor. All these things I speak about, love, repentance, apologizing, forgiveness, things like that. Boy, when I do this thing on apologizing, some of y'all gonna be mad at me. Some of y'all left some apologies on the tables and ruined a lot of great friendships because you didn't learn how to apologize. It's a very spiritual tactic that you can use to build up armor. You'll spend less time arguing with fools if you learn how to apologize. Somebody right, I'll be like, yeah, you right, my bad. A wise man told me don't argue with fools. People from a distance gonna tell who is who. They can't tell. Some of these rap words actually make sense. I say God and the devil uses everything to his advantage. People like, I hate rap music, it's for the devil. I said some of these people were prophets telling you about the future. Some of them rappers that they call devils and demons, some of them gave you a prophecy in that music. Go listen to that Cell Therapy song again by Goody Mob. Please go listen to that again. Please go listen to it and then say, damn, they made a song 20 years ago. Yep. You never know how God gonna use a message, ever. People don't even understand how Satan works. People give Satan a lot of credit. Satan ain't created nothing on this earth. When you make, let's just say you make a shoe. You make a shoe out of your own creative mind. The devil can't do nothing to distract the shoe until it is made. Devil can't create nothing original. The devil has no original idea. Until you create it, the devil can't use it. Until the internet was created, the devil couldn't use it. It's my father's house. This is my daddy's house. What they say, my daddy's house. That's what the babies be saying, my daddy's house. Giving no outsider, no credit, no major credit in my daddy house. My daddy created that. You just an imposter. You better start seeing this game for what it's worth, man. This spiritual game is about to up over the roof. And some people are not ready. God said, prepare your people. When I woke up in 2019, God said, prepare your people. Dangerous times ahead. If you think I'm lying, go read the leading title under the Good Narcissist and see what I said. Go see what I said. What was the main title of me starting this page? Go see what I said. But anyways, people, man, I'm gonna finish my walk. Hey, man, I wish peace and love for you. I wish understanding. I wish the armor of God be upon you, that you can deal with things in these times. Because you're gonna need it. Peace out.